Agbana, that matter is dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice. Red Shield Rentals versus Nadira Hope.
David Fantier on behalf of the plaintiff.
Is she here?
Hello,
There she is. Hello, Miss Hope. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. All right.
I think we're about to change that, Your Honor. This is a case
Why?
that I've been dreading all week. We actually found out from SOS last Friday that her case was denied because she received ESG earlier and she received barrier busters earlier. So she's at the 3,000 ESG limit and she's at the $5,000 county limit. I spoke to Kara Painter at SOS and I requested that they appeal that directly to the county. And they did that not once, but twice. And Kristen at the county denied it. I actually had a very nice conversation with Ms. Hope to see if we could come up with anything else. I've also got a call into, since the county can't help, even with new funds, because there's that county limit, I reached out to the state to see if maybe they could stretch the MISHDA funding. Ms. Hope and I had a very nice conversation Friday, trying to go over all possibilities. Because I think the last thing any of us want to do is evict Ms. Hope. So that's where we are right now. Like I said, I know we've been trying to work with her. You've been very gracious to both parties. And anyway, I'll leave Ms. Hope. You want to?
At first, this case sounds like thousands of eviction cases that happen every single year. A tenant behind on rent, a landlord trying to recover losses, and a system filled with programs that promise help but come with strict limits. Here, the assistance programs had already reached their caps. 3,000 from one program, 5,000 from another. Once those limits are hit, the support simply stops. And suddenly, a real human situation becomes trapped inside bureaucratic numbers. I could see this point in the hearing. Everyone in the courtroom already understands what could happen next. If nothing changes, eviction is the likely outcome. But what no one expected was what this woman was about to admit next.
On Tuesday, I had a meeting with an attorney and they're going to move forward with helping me get the funds through Social Security Disability or at least trying to get my application pushed through there. So that's one thing that is moving at least in the right direction. And so also because my medications were making it extremely difficult for me to earn any income because of all the side effects. I have stopped taking my medications just so that I can
No.
I have to keep the lights on. I have to keep food in the fridge. You know, I don't have any good options.
And I told her the same thing. I told her.
Miss Hope, first sec.
Your Honor, I told her the same thing. I told her to talk to her doctor.
Mr. Fantera, I don't want to hear from you right now. Miss Hope.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're going to take your medication. I don't want you stopping that.
I don't know what else is in my power to do because I have obligations, you know, I need money to live.
This is the moment the entire courtroom changes. Listen carefully to what she just admitted. She stopped taking her medication, not because she wanted to, but because the side effects made it impossible to work. And without work, there is no money, no food, no rent, no survival. That is the kind of decision people only make when they feel completely cornered. You can actually hear the judge react immediately. Not like a distant authority figure, but like someone who suddenly realizes how desperate the situation really is. Because this case is no longer just about unpaid rent. Now it's about someone risking their own health just to keep the lights on.
And so
Yes, sir.
When the judge asks how much rent is owed, the number is finally revealed $5,352. For some people, that might sound like a small amount. But for someone struggling with disability, medical issues, and a child to support, it can feel like an impossible mountain. At this point, the judge pauses. And instead of immediately pushing toward eviction, he begins thinking about the bigger picture. And what he says next shows that he's looking at this case very differently than most eviction hearings.
there was a point this week that I was thinking about you. And because you're always in my prayers every day. So,
Thank you.
but I was thinking about you particularly, and a, s- a statement that what my mom used to tell me, and my grandfathers, and they came from my grandfathers, and that is, sometimes you got to make a way out of no way. I don't know what that always means, but I know that's what has to happen here. So first thing is, I want you to make sure that you're taking your medication. Okay. Second thing, we've called everywhere.
This is one of those rare courtroom moments where the law and humanity collide. Judges see thousands of cases. They're trained to focus on facts, contracts, and procedures. But here, the judge pauses and starts reflecting on something his mother used to say. Sometimes you've got to make a way out of no way. That sentence might sound simple, but in this courtroom, it carries a lot of weight. Because the judge clearly understands that this situation isn't just about numbers on a balance sheet. It's about a person trying to survive while the system around her keeps closing doors.
Sleep all day.
Okay. All right. Then I'll leave it this way. I guess I can't force anybody to take it, and you're the best one to judge that. So I'll leave that there, but I don't want you, for financial reasons, not to do that. I understand the other obligations, and you'll have to weigh and balance that. I'm going to give 2 dates here on this case. Is Mr. Fantera the same on the 5th and 12th?
Yes, he is at 9 o'clock on the 5th and 12th.
I'm going to set this for 2 hearings, the 5th, and also the 12th of May. I'll do this over the objection of plaintiff if they were going to seek judgment today, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I was not.
All right. And Mr. Fantera, I didn't mean to yell at you. I just,
No, that's
and
fine.
I appreciate your efforts, but
And I'm going to continue, Your Honor. My concern is that, and Amy can hear what I'm going to say. Ms. Hope, this should have been dealt with too.
Instead of rushing to judgment, the judge decides to slow everything down, that he schedules additional hearings and gives the situation more time that in eviction court. That decision alone can mean everything. Time can allow someone to find assistance, secure legal help, or simply stabilize their situation. But what happens next is even more surprising, because the judge doesn't just delay the case, he actually offers to step in himself.
Months ago, because they knew then that she had already gotten that. And had that happened, the number would have been a lot lower, and we might have been able to piecemeal money together from other agencies. So that was the basis of me having SOS Kara Painter, Kara's been great. Going back to Kristen, basically saying this should not have been handled the way it was handled. Please override that. So maybe the court can do something.
Mr. Van, I'll tell you this. I don't tend to get involved in those things, but I realize also that the payment and other things are part of this. They have become part of the court process. So, Mr. Frontera, if you need me to talk to somebody on this case, because I think you're right, had it been taken care, we'd be dealing with a different amount, and we would have a molehill instead of a mountain. So, if you need me to you know how to reach me, you get through to Miss Tang, I'm there. We're going to make this happen.
The person, I'm told by Kara, and maybe Amy can tell me, that the person making this decision at OCED is Kristen Kunis, that it's her decision to make, and that she declined not once but twice to override both the 3,000 ESG limit and the $5,000 county limit. So I would imagine that anything needs to go back through her.
Send Miss Tang an email indicating that it's on this case. Yep. And that if the court sees fit, that the court needs to make a call and talk to Miss Kunis. I'll be more than happy to do that.
I just want to make sure that my conversation is not going to be an ex parte communication. I'm just going to email Miss Tang that exact information.
Just email Miss Tang, and now that Miss Hope knows that you're going to do that, if you just send a copy to her, that's fine. I'm going to do what I got to do.
And I'm going to continue dealing with the state in the hope that I'm going to be dealing with Alice at DHS in the hope that the state can waive whatever limits they've got to try to help Miss Hope on this one also. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I just want you to know that.
Miss Hope, anything else you want to say, ma'am?
No, just thank you both.
What did I tell you? You don't give up until I tell you to give up. You know, everything my mama ever told me was prophetic, and it was always right. So we're going to find a way to make a way out of no way. All right?
All right.
All right. Miss Hope, you take care of yourself. And as I always tell you, I want you worried about you and your child. I don't want you worried about this. We'll somehow or another we'll get this. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
What happens here is something you rarely see inside eviction courtrooms. Instead of simply making a ruling and moving on to the next case, the judge offers to personally reach out to officials and push for a reconsideration of the assistant's decision. That kind of involvement isn't common, but it shows just how seriously he's taking the situation. And then he ends the hearing with something even more powerful. He tells her not to give up. Moments like this remind people watching that while the legal system can sometimes feel cold and mechanical, there are still individuals inside it who understand the human side of these cases. And sometimes that understanding can make all the difference.